Hey, fellow YouTubers. Good morning, good morning, good morning. So I have a funny spin on something. So when I was a kid, first of all, my last name is Brown. And, in my household growing up, due to my father's interests, it was the big three: baseball, football, basketball. All three were really, really followed closely, and a lot of enthusiasm and conversation, and it was great. That's the way I grew up. And I ended up getting very, very involved in baseball. My dad was my coach. My older brother was a wonderful player, and soccer. And it was an athletics-oriented family, and it was a lot of fun. But my brother, so far as the football goes, the NFL, my brother didn't have the Rams as his favorite team. He had the Kansas City Chiefs. And red was his favorite color, so I think it had something to do with that. But I felt compelled to choose my own team other than the Rams because that's what he did, and I wasn't going to just follow him and go with his favorite team. So I chose the Browns because of the last name. And then on that team, my favorite position in football was running back. And I kind of felt like I was a little bit better than most. I was kind of stoked on running back. And just that enthusiasm comes out of that adrenaline. When you're running down the field and people are trying to tackle you, it's one of the best feelings I experienced as a child. And then my brother was 4.5 years older, and we would play tackle football on the weekends on this big grass field in front of our elementary school. And I would play with his friends. And so, boy, you better believe that adrenaline was really, really strong when, I was 5 or 6 being chased by 9 and 10-year-olds. Because it was tackle with no pads. And, I'd get hurt a lot and I'd cry, and then I'd get the lecture on how to take it like a man, bite your lip and grit your teeth. And, a lot of kids could use a little bit more of that, I think, these days. But, because of me loving the Browns and being a running back, I loved Jim Brown, who was a running back for the Browns, and I loved O.J. Simpson. One of the first novel I ever read was on O.J. Simpson. Written at grade level, like a little 25-page book. But out of that, I would actually secretly, and shared it with my brother and maybe one or two other people, I wished and was sad that I wasn't born black. And because all the best athletes, especially the running backs in the NFL, seem to be black, and that was the position that I was in love with. And I felt like I was a little bit better than the average white guy, but I didn't feel like I was as good as the average African American. And so I wanted to be black as a child. Then busing starts. I'm in a public elementary school. Busing starts, and I think I was kind of insecure, a little bit sensitive. Like if someone were to tease me or to try to bully me, it would get underneath my skin a little bit more than it should. But I noticed that these African Americans that were in our school from busing, it just one year there was almost no African Americans in that public school, and then the next year there was certain grades. I don't remember which ones, but I just spilled some water all over the place. There were certain grades that came in, I think like 2 grades, like maybe 3rd and 5th or something. And then those grades of ours went to that school. So I was a 4th grader, so I wasn't bussed out. But we had 2 grades of primarily African Americans. And I noticed how no one said anything to them. There was no bullying, there was no teasing the boys or the girls. So once again, I was envious, and I appreciated how they were treated with respect and a little bit of fear. And I wished that I was black. Fast forward. High school. There was only one African American in our senior class, but he was just the best guy. Team captain of the football team, one of the star players on the basketball team. Nicest guy you'd ever want to meet. So that didn't make me want to be black, but I was already kind of grew up thinking, gosh, they got it good. And then he gets elected class president. So he was rewarded for his wonderful personality and work ethic and athleticism. Fast forward, graduate from undergrad and wanted to be a fireman. So went to talk went to a few fire departments and got the same response from several of them. We can't hire you. What do you mean? Why not? You're white. What? Well, yeah, we're due to affirmative action, we're not hiring any white people for about probably the next 7 years. So you should probably look for a different profession. That really hurt. Once again, too bad I'm not black. So, darn it. Couldn't go into my chosen profession because of my skin color. Just think on that for a second. Couldn't do what I wanted to do because I wasn't the right color. Is that black privilege? I think it is. That's black privilege. This athletic ability they have. Are you privileged when you get wonderful, wonderful gifts from the Creator that other people, other races don't have at the same level? You're privileged when you get that. You're blessed. And you have something that most other people don't have. And I grew up being envious of that. I'm a good athlete. For years, I contemplated getting the tattoo, Poetry in Motion, because I took so much pride on my skateboarding, my sports growing up, my surfing, and I felt like I was super, but not at the level of the African American friends I had, the African Americans I knew, and the ones I watched on TV, and the NBA, and football, and basketball. So fast forward, employment. I almost don't work with white people. I have on the school campus approximately 2 to 3 bosses. In site services, I have 3 bosses. None of them are white, ever. I mean, I've had 1 or 2 here or there, but over the course of my 27 years, all my bosses are ethnic. Almost all the people I rub shoulders with, whether on the school campus or at my professional developments where it's only school psychologists, primarily ethnic. And there seems to be discrimination against 3 different factors. Age, because if you're older, you don't have the brand new, our information's always changing, like the medical field. If you don't have the brand new knowledge, you're not as useful. So they discriminate against age, and it's a very, very difficult environment to work in, so sometimes the older people get a little bit burnt out. So discrimination against age. There's discrimination against ethnicity if you're white, because you're dealing with almost nothing but ethnic children, period. And it's all, even my education in graduate school was all multicultural. That was like 80% of what was drilled into our head was how to work with different ethnicities. And they would educate you on that ethnicity's background so that you're sensitive and you're knowledgeable before you try to help these individuals of that ethnicity. The ethnic people obviously have a better understanding than someone like me who studies other cultures for 3 years in graduate school. So One, age. I'm discriminated against because of that. Two, skin color. I'm discriminated against because of that. And lastly, male. If you're a female, they think you're more sensitive, you're more supportive. They even seem to think you have a better work ethic. I don't know, but there's a discrimination against males too. And so I'm just discriminated against, seriously, at my work for all three of those reasons. And I talk amongst my friends that are my age, and some are white, and we see it clearly. So if I'm getting in trouble at work all the time, but if I was doing the same quality and level of work, and I was a young, ethnic female, because I see the reports, and my reports are better, I would not be getting any of this. So, once again, too bad I'm not black or Hispanic. I got the last name Brown, darn it, just don't have the skin color. So, I don't see this white privilege. When this guy George was first killed, I lost a good friend that I've had for like 30 years, and he's Hispanic, and he called me white privileged and disappeared from my life for months. We're talking again now. He never apologized. I didn't ask him to, but it's really lame, and he was totally like teasing me and like ridiculing me because of my skin color. This is a friend I've had for like 30 years. So, darn it, too bad I'm not black. So, I don't see the white privilege, and I've always wished I was black. So how could a white person growing up in a place where there's systemic racism and white privilege wish that he's black so that he could be more privileged? Think on it.